The pathways to adulthood for young adults are most likely to be different. Some young adults are learning and trying to make decisions about their future with the assistance of others. These decisions will help shape the course of their lives. Some will find themselves in college, others will find a job. Unfortunately, many of the young adults will not have the opportunity to experience either, with no fault of their own. The important thing to know is that there are no perfect transition plans that guarantee a quality of life. However, the best transition plans meet the person where they're at and build confident and engaged adults. The journey must expose the young person to community living experiences that include work, recreation, and social networks. This journey must offer opportunity equity, and perhaps the biggest thing of all, the dignity of risk. Some of these young adults may not have a formal communication system. They may also have intensive independent living needs. These young adults, who do not appear in this video, require and benefit from the same things to become successful adults. There's a wide range of capacity in these young adults, and they must be defined by who they are and not the severity of their disability. All young adults, disabled and non-disabled, have many things in common. Perhaps the one trait that is universally shared is they all want to be autonomous. They all want to have a say in the direction their life should go, and they benefit from support and guidance. One strategy to assure the voice of deaf-blind adults with disabilities are heard and supported is person-centered planning. It asks the question, who is this person? What are their preferences and strengths? What are their future goals, and how will their circle of support consisting of family, educators, and community help them achieve their goals? Person-centered planning cannot be addressed in system-centered mandates and IEP checklists, but lives and breathes in the network of people who collectively know this person best. Our commitment to learning more about this person in educational, recreational, and natural settings helps us understand them better and promotes what we want for all people, which is a quality of life.
Linda McDowell,
I think person-centered planning is one of the better tools.
Executive Director, National Center on Deaf Blindness.
When you're trying to figure out anything about a student's education or anything about a student's future, and you're trying to figure out who needs to be at the table to make this happen, and then how can you make it happen? So one of the things that person-centered planning promotes as far as its philosophy is don't plan anything without really knowing the student first, and so that really influences then, well, then what does that look like to really know somebody? What are all the questions that should be asked? What all do you need to learn about someone to fully describe them? And that then leads to the planning for a student ought to really include a nice definition or a nice description, a full description of really who is this student when they're at their best? What are the supports that need to be in place? What are they really wanting out of life that would make life quality? Person-centered planning has within it a philosophy that it's never one meeting. We know it's going to take people coming back together as a team to go, what's working, what's not, what do we need to do next? Life is complicated, so it takes a planning process to get at all those complications. Before you even walk into a person-centered plan, with a student who has more significant disabilities, may not have a formal communication system, can't really express what they're interested in clearly, what they want their future to be, that before you even sit down and have those conversations as a team of people with the family and these other agencies, time needs to be spent before that actual planning moment with purposeful observation, notes, pictures. It's called discovery. It's time spent watching a student through their day across some time, note-taking, writing a profile. What did I notice? That's going to help me then describe when I get to the planning meeting, really describe. So really, what did I see this student doing that tells me what they want the future to look like? So person-centered planning is definitely not a checklist. It's a process of planning, sticking with a plan, having the philosophy of expecting that tomorrow's going to be a better day. Next year's definitely going to get better because we're going to be working on having opportunity to learn new things, to think of even new dreams for the future, and then the skills it might take to participate in that future. So person-centered planning should produce a whole wealth of information about a person's future, and then also get the supports in place to get that to happen.
Sequence of pictures.
The young adults you've met in this video are in an age of discovery. Each young adult has something unique about them that makes them who they are. Their strengths, preferences, and interests all define who they are beyond their disability. In whatever role you play in a young person's life, may you imagine the possibilities and consider what role you might play in improving the outcomes for young adults who are deafblind.
A young woman smiles and points her index finger to another woman. The woman sits next to her. She is wearing round and thick vision glasses. The glasses make her look as if she were cross-eyed. A young man on a wheelchair is wearing a black hat with flowers on it. 4 women are next to each other. They smile as they pose for a picture. A woman hugs a young man who is sitting. The young man has a stuffed animal. A group of 50 young men and women are outdoors. They are wearing blue t-shirts. They pose while formed in 4 lines. Over a white background, we see the logos of National Center on Deaf Blindness, Helen Keller National Center for Deaf Blind Youth and Adults, Ideas at Work, the Office of Special Education Programs, U.S. Department of Education, TA&D Network, Dream Transition Institute. Special thanks to the states who have hosted previous events: Mississippi Hearing Vision Project, Florida and Virgin Islands Deaf Blind Collaborative, Kentucky Deaf Blind Project, SC School for the Deaf and Blind, Embracing the Possibilities, Georgia Sensory Assistance Project. Special thanks to participating states and future hosts: Alabama, Arizona, Arkansas, California, Illinois, Indiana, Louisiana, Minnesota, Nebraska, New York, North Carolina, South Dakota, Tennessee, Texas, Virgin Islands, Virginia. Transition Video Team: Robin Bull, Brian Daigle, Michael Fakbemi, Linda McDowell, Shelby Morgan, Angel Perez, Mark Shaylock.